Hi, I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. Today we're going to review the 2020 Stinger Max bow from PSE. The Stinger has always been one of the biggest selling bows in the PSE lineup. It's the budget bow for PSE. There is the Uprising, which is a little bit cheaper, but this bow is performance. And when I say performance, you're going to shoot really, really well with this. This is a single cam bow, which means the top of the wheel, top wheel is an idler wheel, so there's no cam system on it. It's just purely a round wheel. The bottom wheel is your energy wheel. This is where all the energy is formed from. It has a draw stop down the bottom here, just there, and it's a rotating module. So to change the draw length, you need to rotate the module and change the draw stop. So sometimes you can adjust the let off by moving the draw stop backwards and forwards. So A being the longest and P being down here the shortest. So if you want to increase your let off, you move it longer, and if you want to decrease your let off, you move it shorter. But generally the module is on the same position. You'll see here it's on C and it's on C down here. So basically, if you wanted more let off, you'd move this to B. If you want less let off, you'd move it to maybe C, D. Now that's even more of an issue if you're going to change the weight. Down here you can see it's on performance setting, and down here is the growth setting. Moving it from the performance setting to the growth setting, just there, will reduce the poundage by 5 pounds. Now the bow itself is a cast riser. You can see you've got full adjustment here. You can see the full amount which you can adjust the limb bolts. Now PSE claim this is adjustable from 23 pounds to 70. I don't think that's right, but that's the claim. You've got multiple positions here for your sight on the side. Stabilizer position here. This thread here is tapped, so you can fit a V-bar on the side if you want to fit a lower limb position. Comes in a whole heap of colors. This, I think, is, I don't really know, is it timber? Oh, it says Strat on the side here on the pattern. So it normally comes in mossy oak, it normally comes in charcoal, it comes in white, comes in muddy girl, does it come in purple? So it comes in a whole heap of colors, and I think about 2 or 3 camo varieties. It's a very popular bow. Standard cable slide and system there. PSE has changed to a carbon rod here for the string stop. The serial number on the side's been changed. With the old serial number on PSE, the last 2 digits were the poundage. That's changed for the Stinger. Limb vibrators here, limb dampeners. Now the limbs on this bow, these are the standard Gordon glass limbs you're going to see on all the PSE bows, and on pretty much every bow manufactured these days use the Gordon glass limbs. There's very few laminated limbs left on the market today. So these are a good quality limb. PSE give you a lifetime warranty, and they are very good with service. So the strings themselves, these are not the good quality strings that you find on a top of the line PSE. These are a cheaper quality string, still suitable for the purpose, but basically built for a budget. So one thing which I've always found interesting in the Stinger, you'll see here there's no serving around the idler wheel. The reason for that is this increases the speed by about 5 pounds. The speed on this bow is rated at 312 feet per second, which is pretty quick. 80% let off. Draw length is adjustable from 21.5 to 30 inches, so a big range. So basically suitable for a 10-year-old right up to someone who's probably around 6 foot tall. The bow physically weighs 3.8, so it's a nice weight bow for basically all those sizes. If the child was smaller or a lady who's not very strong, you may want a lighter bow. Now there's not many on the market lighter than 3.8, so just bear that in mind. The limb pockets are plastic. You're not going to get machine limb pockets until you spend more money. Now the competitors for the Stinger on the market, I'm going to say the Stinger is the best budget bow in the market, and I'm going to say by a country mile. The competitors, some people are going to say, well, the Bear Cruiser Now that bow is adjustable from 15 to 70 pounds, it claims, and it's going to get sold to lots of kids. Now kids are not going to need a bow 70 pounds, and when you wind that bow down it becomes like spongy. Now if you're looking to buy a Bear Cruiser, I say probably look at the PSE Uprising. I'm not pushing this from a PSE perspective, but the Uprising is the comparison to the Bear Cruiser. The bow's adjustable from 15 to 70, and it's got that draw length adjustment. What's different about the Stinger is when you draw the bow back, it physically stops. You do not have the timing issues that you do with a Bear Cruiser. This is a single cam bow. With a twin cam, the cams have got to be in sync. And basically when you wind the bow back, it starts to become spongy at the wall, so you get variance, the speed drops, the bow's a shorter axle. So PSE has reduced the axle on this bow from 32 in 2019 to 30 inches. Now I think that's a mistake, so I'm going to be interested to see how well I shoot with this bow. And yeah, I'm kind of interested why they've done that. I guess it's to reduce the weight of the bow. But it's definitely easier to shoot a longer bow, but I'm guessing they reduced it because the target audience for this bow is probably in the kids market. So that's my gut feeling why they've done it. I'm not sure why they've done it. I haven't spoken to them about it, why they did that. But the Stinger has been in the PSE lineup for as long as I can remember. There was only 1 year when it was out of the lineup, and PSE threw it back in the year after through, I'm going to say, a mistake for not adding it in the lineup. So the old models came with solid limbs, single cam. Last year it was split limbs and 32 inches. That model existed for probably about 3 years unchanged. So this is the latest modification. Now you'll see timing marks here on the wheels. Now with the timing marks, people are going to say, well, the timing marks aren't correct. Now in the old days with single cam bows, you could change the string size to adjust the poundage and draw length. It does not affect the tune of the bow with a single cam because this is just an idler wheel here. So it's a little bit different, but this will tell you if your strings have stretched or if anything's changed, so a reference mark. Now you'll see another reference mark just there. I'm going to guess that's for when you change the string position from there to there, so it's pretty clever. You don't need a bow press to make the adjustments on this bow. If you are going to move from performance setting to growth setting, wind the bow down before you do that, because at 70 pounds it's not going to be much fun. Now, all my reviews are done at 60 pounds. So with this bow I wound it down 4 turns and I got about 60 pounds. So 4 turns is equivalent to about 10 pounds. And you can see how much thread I've got left. So I'm going to say this bow will probably drop to around 40 pounds. You may get 35 pounds out of it. I have not got the 30 pounds. I'm going to guess the 30 pounds has got at the short draw length, like a 21-inch draw length. And the same occurs with the Cruiser from Bear and probably the Uprising from PSE. The shorter the draw length, the less poundage you get. So it's a kind of a little bit misleading from that sort of sense. But let's shoot this through a chronograph. Let's see how it feels to shoot. Let's try the draw cycle out, and then let's shoot some group set distance. Okay, so this is the first time I've drawn back the Supra Max, the Stinger Max. And yes, there is a Supra Max. So we're just going to try the draw cycle. The arrows I shoot through the chronograph, these are velocities from Gold Tip. They're 327 grains, they have a 90 grain point, 29 inches with pins. The faster bows are doing 300. I'd expect this to do around 285 through the chronograph. So let's just sort of see how it goes. Now to start off with, the bow feels very light. The grip is comfortable. It feels like a PSE grip. Okay, I'm going to say the draw cycle feels solid all the way through until you hit the valley, which then comes to the dead draw stop because it's got a draw stop built into the cam. So when you're drawing this bow back, it feels heavy, feels heavy, feels heavy. Starting to get valley now, valley, 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 dead stop. So I'm going to take this shot. It's easy to let the bow down. Now, even though this is 80% let off, you know, some bows, you know, with a 90%, you get back there and you feel like you're holding nothing. I don't get the feeling with this bow. It's a very comfortable draw cycle. It's easy. I like the single cam bows. Now Matthews developed the single cam bow, and it was Matthews' claim to fame. Matthews said every bow will be produced with a single cam, and when Matthews developed it, it became huge, and lots of bow companies went to single cam. Roll the clock forward 10 years or 15 years since Matthews developed it, and there's very few single cams left on the market, this being one of them. Now Matthews don't even produce the single cam anymore, which I find totally, I don't even understand it. Like, this is such a good bow for beginners, allowing adjustability, allowing that draw stop, the feel of the shot, and it comes in at a budget price. It allows adjustment with the module. It's just a great design, and I think Matthews made a big mistake by not putting a single cam in their lineup. So let's just take this shot. .284 feet per second. Now I hadn't shot that before. That's my first shot ever with the Supra, with the Stinger. PSE seem to be, I'm going to say, incredibly honest on their speeds on their bows, and probably too much so, because some of their speeds are underrated as far as I'm concerned. The bow gave no shock at all. It's well balanced in the hand, as you can see. It just sits there. Which means you don't need stabilizers. The stabilizers are going to take away the torquing, but like, that speed's pretty impressive. 284 feet per second. It's feels stable. You can see there's nothing when you shoot the bow. 284 feet per second again. The bow just sits there. It doesn't kick left to right when I'm aiming. I don't feel like I'm getting the shivers. Like, I don't feel like it's doing that. And I'm going to guess that's because the brace height here is longer. Yeah, see, the brace height's 7¼ inches. I find with 7 inches and over, I'm very steady. And you'll find all the target bows made are 7 inches and over. So this is a very common size for a target bow as far as brace height. And you'll see now with the top of the line PSE hunting bows, they're all doing 7-inch brace heights, because it's just so much steadier than like the 5 inches. You don't get that sort of wobbles, you don't get left to right variation in your shooting. Very stable platform. The Stinger has always been very stable. This is no difference as far as I can feel. I'm going to say people shoot extremely well with the Stinger. I've had people shoot major competitions with Stingers and shoot extremely well. And when I compare other bows from other companies at this price point, the same cannot be said. The other bows made don't have what the Stinger does as far as the stability of the shot, the performance that the Stinger has. And when I say performance, I'm talking about the draw cycle and how it locks into place, the speed of the Stinger, the stability of the Stinger. Some of them don't sit well in the hand. Some of the bows are built for kids, and some of them are built for adults, and they just basically allow you to wind them down, and they don't shoot very well for kids. Now the Stinger comes in 2 poundages, 70 and 55. I would prefer it to be available in 70, 60, 50 and 40. Because if you're a lady, you probably won't shoot 55. You will probably only go up to 40. Some ladies will go up to 50, but 40 is more common, so I would prefer the bows to be 40, 50, 60, 70. But PSE have done that because if you did the variation in poundage as I've suggested, 40, 50, 60, 70, then you need then you need left and right-handed in all the different colors that I've just said, and the variants become massive. So this makes it easier for stores to stock. They've only got to stock the however many colors it comes in, 6 or 7 colors, left and right-handed in the 2 poundages, and even that's a lot of bows to stock. So with that, let's take this bow to 18 meters and see how well it shoots. Okay, so the first thing you're probably going to ask is, what are you doing standing here? You normally shoot out there if you're watching my videos. Well, this is a pergola. It's more sheltered. It's really windy today, and it's a little bit warmer with the roof and the plastic curtains I have around. And also it's summer at the moment, but it's really cold. So yeah, we've gone from extreme heat to extreme cold. That's the way life is. Okay, so questions so far. So why am I holding these things in my hand for? Because when I was sighting the bow in, they popped out. So you can see the bottom ones are in, top ones popped out. So, oh well. So some questions you're probably going to ask. Well, questions you should ask. What's the difference between 30 inches and 32 inches? 2 inches. Is 2 inches a lot? Depends who you are. The shorter the bow, the bigger the distance from your D loop to your peep. So let's say you've got a 30-inch bow, it might be 7 inches. 32-inch bow may be 6 inches. So if you had a 28-inch bow like some of the other competitors, it might be 8 inches because it's more acute, the string angle. Now I mentioned about the quality of the strings. What does that mean? When they make quality strings, basically they pre-tension the strings, so they put them on a stretching machine for an extended period. So basically when you get the string and you fit the peep in the string, the peep shouldn't then rotate over time. So you may get some rotation of the peep. When you pull it back, the peep may rotate like that. But it won't change over time. So over time, if the string, I'm going to pick this string, I'm not going to say it's going to do it, but this is a cheaper quality string. Over time it might start there and then it'll move there and then it'll move there and then it'll move there. What's happening is the string is stretching, so it's getting shot in. So back in the olden days, before we had pre-stretchers, you used to have to shoot your bow for about 200-300 shots to get the string to settle in, and then you'd set up your peep sight. So with a cheaper quality string, you probably have to do that. Now with the Stinger, what I do with the kits is I fit a peep sight with an elastic band to the string, because then it doesn't have to settle in. Basically the rubber band pulls the peep sight straight. So that's the difference between a high quality string and a cheaper string. The high quality ones are being pre-tensioned, so they're under tension when they're being made. They're then left under tension, like 300 pounds worth of tension. So basically you don't get that peep sight rotation when you're shooting, which is really annoying. So let's shoot this. I'm at 18 meters. How do I expect to shoot? I think I'll shoot pretty well. I'm a little bit scared about the 30 inches, to be honest with you. I feel more comfortable shooting 32 inches than 30 inches. However, I have shot I've shot really well with 30-inch bows before, like the PSE drive I've shot really well with. That's a 30-inch bow. This is a 7¼ brace height, which means it should be steady. So let's see how steady it is at 18. I think I'll shoot well, but I think I probably would have shot better with the 32. So let's see how it goes. So I'm not getting any of that wobble at all. My side pin was moving around, okay? Now, is that because the bow is so light? With a heavier bow, you'll be a little bit more stable. So you'll see your target bows weigh about 4.7, then you add a whole heap of weight on and they come in at, you know, I don't know, I have a whole heap of weight on my target bow. It makes you more stable, it stops you floating around the place. Now for beginners, they can't hold up a heavy bow, so a heavy bow is no good for a beginner. This is a beginner's bow. And if you want it to add weight, you add it to the stabilizers. It makes you more stable. So let's see how I go. So first off, the draw cycle's good, happy with it, it's solid when you get back there. There's a little bit of noise with the bow. I'm going to say I am used to the other bows I've been shooting lately and doing the reviews with, like the PSE Nex 33. That bow has less hand shock, less noise in my opinion than the Stinger. It's faster than the Stinger. I'm going to say it's a better bow than the Stinger, but it's $1,400 versus $500, right? So no, this isn't the greatest bow I've shot, but it's pretty good. It's, you know, you've got to compare like with like, and for $500, I'm pretty comfortable shooting this bow. I think shooting 2 shots so far. Now, I don't pre-rehearse these shots. They're literally the first 3 shots I've taken, and they're pretty average. So I'm gonna say with this bow, with the Stinger, I generally shoot pretty good with it. Well, the last ones I have, the ones before the 2020 version that I can remember, I shot really well with. Now there's other bows at this price point and more expensive than this, which aren't very good bows. And I said in the review, and some of those bow companies get up in arms about it. Now I had a lady come into my store, and I remember it like it was yesterday, and her son brought a bow from somewhere else, and I'm not going to say what brand it was. Beginner archer, paid a lot more than a Stinger for it, and wanted something, I don't know what he wanted, and I said, well, you're probably better off getting carbon arrows than aluminium arrows, I'm guessing. And I asked what bow he had, and I was like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. She's like, why is that? And I said, because it's really hard to shoot. No, it's not. It's really easy to shoot. I was told this is a really good bow by the person who sold it to her, and I was told that that's what I should buy, and I was like, right. He's been shooting for 8 months, and I said, and how well does he shoot? Oh, not very well. Okay. My thing is, like with the Stinger or any bow you buy, you will get better with it over time. There's no question in my mind about that. But you should be pretty good pretty soon. And even a beginner, you should be pretty good pretty quickly. Now, yes, your technique might be bad, your bow might be too heavy, you might not have enough muscles. A whole bunch of reasons why you're not going to be great, but you should be pretty good. And if you're not good, then that's where you really should be. If you're at a club, you should be getting help from, you know, someone there. I think it was his bow, because I couldn't have shot well with that bow. So I'm not saying I'm a great shot, but just really hard bow to shoot. And yeah, like it didn't have a solid back wall. It wasn't steady because it had the riser was out here, so it's a reflex riser, extreme reflex riser, so more twitchy in the shot. So yeah, if you're not getting success, always go and ask questions why you're not getting success, as far as, you know, maybe go to the shop, go to ask archers. And you don't expect too much too soon. But, I mean, I checked what score he was shooting, and I was like, poof. And I think they spent $1,000 on it, and I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. So it was like, and I'm pretty sure he gave up. I'm pretty sure he gave up. So, because if you don't have success, and you're there busting your little, if you're there busting, trying to shoot well, and you're having trouble shooting, you're just going to give up. There are exceptions to that. I know many people who don't shoot very well who continue shooting just because they enjoy it. But as a general rule, if you're really struggling with shooting, you're going to give up. And like I said, there are exceptions to that rule. There's plenty of people I know who don't shoot very well, and they shoot for recreation or just the social side of it. They don't shoot competitive. Now, so I feel like so when I shoot, when I normally do these reviews, I talk about how much the pin is moving. Now, normally when I do these reviews, my pin kind of sits in the 10, and when I shoot, it kind of goes in the 10. I feel like I'm shaking around a lot more. So I can see my pin move. It definitely goes into the 8. Now, it's not moving left to right, it's moving more of up and down. And I'm not sure if that's what you're seeing down there on the target or not with the up and down movement, but that's definitely what it feels. It feels like I'm getting a lot of up and down. That would go away with stabilizers, probably go away with more weight on the bow, but it may be confidence as well. I just may have shot my own confidence with this bow. So we'll just continue. Now, one of my staff said before I did this video, and this is the reason why I'm doing this video, well, one of the reasons why I did this video, he shot this bow before I did. He shot it 2 days ago and said this bow is far better than the 2019 version. There's no hand shock, and it shoots really well. Now, the hand shock's pretty good, and the bow does shoot well for $500, for a $500 bow. And I probably need to shoot the 2019 version up against it. But to me, it's very similar to the 2019 version, and I'd still say I prefer the 32-inch bow. Like I prefer the 33-inch bow to the 31-inch next. Now, if you're a kid, a smaller adult, you may prefer the shorter bow because it's going to be lighter. Look, I'm very happy with the grip. The grip's really comfortable. Draw cycle's really comfortable. About the sight. So you see how high up the sight is here? I really can't move the sight up any higher. This is on the bottom pin setting here, so you need it on that setting there. So there's 2 sight settings. You need it on the higher one, because you can see here I just can't get that sight up high enough. So how well do I think I could shoot with this Stinger? I think I can shoot fine. So if I wanted to shoot competition with this bow, as far as like 3D archery, and I'm an adult, so I'm not talking about kids, I'm talking about adults, men, I'm going to be adding weight to this in the form of stabilizers. If it's hunting, or you might be restricted by size, but I'd be adding more weight to the bow to reduce my movement down. I'd be trying that. Ladies and kids, I'd just shoot it. For target shooting, I want the big stabilizers, I want the back stabilizers to reduce my movement. But I think it's pretty good, like, because the draw cycle is nice and smooth. Yeah, I don't know where that arrow went, but that time my sight pin was steady. The pin kind of sat on the 10, it was pretty good. So, the other thing I want to mention is these things here. If you're taking a stabilizer in or out of this thing, maybe think about getting a bush in or a quick disconnect, because a lot of people with Stingers who shoot target stabilizers, they unscrew them, screw them, they strip out this bushing. So look to use a quick disconnect, because it'll save you money from putting a helicoil in there. Last one. Look, it's not bad to shoot. When it releases, because the bow's light, I push out, and the heavier bows are more stable, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that is true with the stealth bow versus the NXT. But for a hunter, you may prefer the lighter bow because it's sitting on your backpack, you're carrying it around. I always preferred lighter bows for field shooting when I was doing, like, when I say field shooting, when I'm doing simulated hunting shoots, when I'm just recreational shooting, because a nice light bow is just easy to carry around with me. I'm only shooting short distance, which is 20, 30 meters, and yes, I'm shooting 50 meters sometimes, but a 50-meter shot's not a very far shot. So I always preferred lighter bows, but now because I'm doing more target shooting and more accuracy shooting, I'm preferring the heavier bows because they're more stable as far as my pins don't move around as much. But it means I need to shoot more, I need to build up more muscles. So just bear that in mind. Let's go and see where these arrows went in the target because I've got no idea. Okay, so up here at the target, I've got a group. Now I can't get my fingers around the group, but it's not bad. Like, it's a lot better than I would have expected up there. It's a lot better than what I felt like I was shooting. So basically most of them are in the gold. There's 2 8s, 1, 2, 3 10s, and the rest 9s. Now there's one arrow down here which is actually missed. And that's this one, and it's missed by that much. Now you're going to say, what happened there? Now, if you see the video, I'm going to guess what happened. It wasn't in the whisker biscuit. So the whisker biscuit pushed down because I had to lift it up a couple of times. With the thin arrows and a whisker biscuit, they can easily fall through. So if you're shooting a whisker biscuit, just bear that in mind. With the fatter arrows, less likely to fall through the whisker biscuit. These are the 166, these are the thin carbon arrows. And I do all my reviews with this. I just noticed it fell through. And I think, let me just double check. Yeah, right, so I'm using a cheaper whisker biscuit here. So what would have happened, I'm going to guess it kind of sat like that, just down a little bit. So, yeah, it is what it was. But overall, the group's not bad. It's definitely not the best group I've shot. I definitely shot with the drive better than this. But look, there's no peep sight. It's a 70-pound bow. Yeah, I would have shot better with the 55-pound bow. But there's no peep sight. It's a basic hunting sight with a whisker biscuit, no stabilizers, and I shot 2 8s, and the rest were kind of in the gold at 18 meters. That's not too bad, and the score probably won't be too bad overall. Now, my score would pick up with the stabilizer, with more time shooting. Would it improve with the peep sight? Maybe a little bit. Maybe with a different rest would give me a little bit. But overall, it's not too bad. And what it gets back to is practice. So if you've got a PSE Stinger Max that you've just brought, go practice and shoot. Build up your confidence with it. And build up your confidence so you know you can hit the center. Oh, now I haven't mentioned the limbs. On the back of the limbs, there's a little number here. So we're going to go through this. The left-hand limb is 135, the right-hand limb is 134, the bottom left is 137, and the right one's 138. So the lightest limb on this bow is that one, the top right-hand side. Now, from memory, the yoke cable pulls across to the side here, so it's actually got to pull this. This cable here is shorter than this. This is longer, so they make this limb here less weight than this one. So, and then down the bottom, because the cam's not in the center, you can see you've got your cam pulling here, you've got your other cam pulling here. This limb, the one to the right, is slightly heavier than this, and that's to keep your cams aligned. So all up, that's the PSE Stinger. I think it's pretty good. In the past, I have had issues with this grub screw. I'm not a big fan of it. That's a Torx. If it comes loose, you need a Torx to tighten up. So I would like a different system there, but overall this is a very good bow. Up against your Chinese bows, which are $200 odd, I think this fares really well because you get the customer support. It's got that draw stop, the dependability that everything's, if you buy a 70-pound bow, it's 70 pound. The reliability backed by a lifetime warranty. That doesn't include strings and cables, doesn't include you dry firing the bow. But like Stingers they've been around forever. The Stinger is the biggest selling bow I have in my shop. It accounts for probably 70% of all my sales in my shop. That's how many of these bows I sell. So a really good bow, and they've made some improvements this year. I like the carbon rod is good. The weight is good, 3.8. I would prefer a 3.8 pound bow longer, and maybe that's why they made it 30 inches to reduce the weight, so to make it more suitable for kids and all that. But this system here is awesome, so you can see how far out you can wind it. The other thing which is good about the PSE Stinger is as you wind these limbs out and make the bow lighter, you'll see they've still got compression here, so these strings are still under tension. With some of those other bows that have got the big variance of 70 pounds to 15 pounds adjustment, the limbs will have no pressure on them and these strings will be slack, which means it's very hard to shoot the bow consistently. You don't get that performance out of the bow at light poundage. With the Stinger, because they've got compression limbs, even if you wind these limbs out, there's still a lot of tension on these strings and cables, which is why 4 turns on this bow only reduce the poundage by 10 pounds. Other bows, you wind them 4 turns and it'll take a lot of pressure off if there's no tension on the strings and cables. So I hope that's been useful. That's the PSE Stinger Max. From PSE, it comes in the RTS kit, the RTS Pro kit and the Field Ready kit. The RTS kit and the RTS Pro kit are no longer assembled. So in 2020, PSE stopped building them. So they just give you the bits in the box. So bear that in mind. Most shops will probably throw together their own package with this bow. We do, and we charge about $200 for a kit, which includes arrows, release aid, quiver, sights, release aid, stabilizers, peep sights, D-loops, wrist sling, everything you need to get shooting. You allow $200 extra. So I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. Enjoy shooting. Thanks for watching. Bye.